Hello everyone, welcome back to Moonside Psyche. This is Jay, and today I'm going to be talking about mindfulness. And I've got tons of goodies to show you all, um, and I've got some notes here, so don't mind if I'm not exactly looking at the camera the entire time. I wanted today to really sit and talk to you all about mindfulness. I did briefly touch on meditation last week, but this week I really wanted to talk about mindfulness because it is a tool that can aid us in our meditation practice, but it is also just a great practice in and of itself. And sorry, there's a storm starting outside. But, so yes, mindfulness. So, mindfulness, a quick kind of rundown, is the practice of purposeful awareness, deliberately taking a moment and being in the moment where you are, when you need to be. So, I learned about mindfulness actually during my experience in the psychiatry part of my college experience. I did a lot with mindfulness there. As an adolescent, I did spend some time in therapy, working with social workers and therapists and psychiatrists, and that's really what kickstarted my interest in psychology and sociology. So that kind of directed me once I got to college. But in the psychology world, mindfulness can be used as a tool in DBT specifically. I am not a psychologist, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. But I will say that dialectical behavioral therapy, shortened as DBT, is a treatment that targets emotional regulation, emotional dysregulation. So it gives you the tools to regulate where you feel necessary. So mindfulness is probably one of my favorite DBT practices. And for example, if you're in a situation where, you're feeling anxious, you're uncomfortable, you're depressed, you're having trouble focusing for a myriad of reasons, mindfulness is a way to kind of pull yourself out of that. I remember hearing it being demonstrated to children and also, young adults as, take a jar and fill the jar with water and then put a few spoonfuls of glitter in there. Then tighten it, seal it up, and shake the heck out of that jar. While the jar is moving, the glitter is falling and cascading and swirling around inside of the jar. And that jar is an analogy for your mind. So the glitter are thoughts. It's very hard to do anything, to focus on any one thought if everything is swirling around in there. But if you set the jar down and you don't touch it for a few moments, notice everything settles to the bottom. And I thought that was a really good example. I don't have a jar full of glitter to show you all, but you can just take my word for it. I'm sure you all can imagine that. So, mindfulness as a practice is a really, really great tool for me that I've used. And I'm sure it'll be great for others of you, and for those of you who have maybe tried it in the past and it's not your deal, we can talk about something else in the future. But today we're going to talk about mindfulness. Okay. So I spoke a bit about mindfulness being purposeful awareness, but some of the benefits of mindfulness in general include improving your ability to focus and concentration, reducing the symptoms of anxiety and depression, stress, ADHD, any sort of attention deficit issue. Um, there have been studies that have shown that teaching mindfulness to young adults and adolescents actually improves social skills in children and adolescents because it gives them a chance to do that emotional regulation that's so hard when you're at those ages. Mindfulness has also been shown to increase the gray matter portion of the brain, which is the part of your brain that focuses on, self-awareness and compassion. And that is, core to what I want to do, what we're doing here with Moonside Psyche. So I've talked a lot about what mindfulness is, but how do we break that down? How do we practice it? Here I have a basket full of goodies to show you in a moment. Mindfulness is taking a step back and using your senses to really hone in on where you are right now, what you're doing, what's going on around you. It's that awareness that I was talking about earlier. So, taking a few deep breaths, feeling and focusing the air moving in you and around through you, listening for a few moments and really checking in on what you can hear. Like, if I pause, and you can do this with me for maybe a minute, okay? And we can check in on the things that we hear, the things that we see, smell, touch, what's going on around us. So let's just take a moment together, get into a comfortable position. Sometimes I like to close my eyes, but you don't have to. Take a few deep breaths, and let's go with listening first, So I'll stop talking for a moment, and you listen to what's in your immediate surroundings. Maybe what you hear in the background of this video, because I'm not operating in a vacuum. So let's take a few moments and listen. Any sounds you notice that you hadn't before? Can you hear the fan in the background? Can you hear the thunder rolling in the background of my video? Perhaps check in and tell me the things that you hear in your surroundings that you didn't notice before. One of the other big senses as far as mindfulness goes is touch, and I have some tools here that this is just like, I bought this for like $5 maybe, not even, maybe $3 at Walmart, and this is just so stimulating to the sense of touch. And this is really stimulating to multiple senses. You can hear the beads shifting or the sticks shifting, you can see the imprints on it. And they are each individual little posts, so you can feel it. It's a great texture tool. That's in this little basket. This whole basket is just full of tools to, focus on, lose focus on. This is colorful and it transforms shapes. You can sit here and fiddle with this. This is actually like a cat toy, but it's squishy and it has a bell inside and it's made of some sort of rubber with the little nubbins. So this is stimulating in many ways. There's a fidget spinner in here. That's a tactile and visual stimulation. Another cat toy. Hear that? And it's soft. It's soft on some pieces, and the foil is wrinkly and firm and crispy. I don't know. However you would describe that texture. There's a shell in here to listen to. That's a great tool. There's lotion in here to rub on your hands if your skin is dry, and also just for the sensation of rubbing something into your skin. There's these little springy dudes. They're not really springs, but they're fun to hold in your hand. I think they're hairpins. But all of these things can be used. There's a thimble. These things can be used for tactile stimulation, for focus and being mindful. I have some essential oils. Lavender and grapefruit are just two, using the smell, focus on. That is a form of mindfulness, focusing on the smells. Aromatherapy is also very popular. People like to introduce different smells and they have different effects on the body. And we can talk more about aromatherapy on another day if we're interested in that. I've got this great big coloring book here. Coloring is one of my personal favorites when it comes to a mindfulness activity. You sit down, and this particular coloring book has a big picture, but if you look closer, there's a lot of small little details in there. Like there's fish and bubbles, and it's one big seahorse or hippogriff or whatever creature that is. And this is a great tool for me personally. I love coloring. So we talked about touch, we talked about smell, we talked about sounds. As a mindfulness technique, I like to combine them, clearly. But I've also kind of played this game with myself. Like, okay, I can feel that I am freaking out, maybe there's traffic. I'm stuck in traffic and I hate being stuck in traffic. Okay, what color is the car in front of me? Okay, it's blue. Can I find 5 more blue things directly around me? So I'll look around and find 5 blue things. Okay, I can hear the radio. What are 4 other things that I can hear around me? And just go down the list. Do I smell anything? Maybe, maybe not. What do I feel? I have leather seats, and that definitely is a texture on my skin in the summertime anyway, if I'm wearing shorts. You know, can I feel my hair touching my neck? Can I feel the glasses sitting on my face? Pick a few things for each sense and really hone in on those things. And over time, you'll find that, you know, your focusing is good and it's better. You know, you're improving your focus, but also you're improving your ability to regulate your own emotions. And really, we are all responsible for our own emotions and how we respond to the world. And I find that that is probably the biggest way that I use mindfulness in my personal life. I am quick to temper naturally. And in practicing mindfulness, I find that I am rewiring my brain. So if something happens and I don't like it, instead of just jumping and being aggressive and, you know, listening to my little lizard brain that's mad at everything, I find that I'm able to take a moment and breathe and think about what's going on and what's going on inside me, what's going on in the situation, and how do I want to react to it. And I think that's a beautiful practice, and that's a beautiful spot in myself that's shown growth. And I wanted to share that with you guys this week. Um, if there's a topic that you want to hear about that I have not touched on, which I'm sure is a lot, go ahead and leave me a comment or send me a message, and I'll do some research if it's something I'm not well versed in, and we can come back and have another discussion next week. All right, everybody, you have a pleasant rest of your day. Peace, blessings, and all that jazz.